lead on the changes that are needed in Title II of the city code, which is boards and commissions. Included in your packet is proposed language changes as it relates to the LRPC. While we are looking at amendments to reflect about that, we are also providing some recommended changes for clarification, housekeeping items as we would typically call it. Those inclusions are clarification on commission terms, assigning all the secretarial duties to the city staff assigned to the board or commission, and making sure that the LRPC responsibilities are under the guidance of the planning commission. Set aside a few minutes to go over it. Primarily, there's just a few questions that I have before we finalize the proposed amendments for formal consideration. First one is number of consecutive terms. Currently it says 3 terms, but it does potentially penalize a person for fulfilling an unexpired term, considering that a term, so I'm recommending that it be 3 full terms, so that an individual who fulfills a 1-year unexpired term can still serve 3 full terms. And the other one in particular is relationship to the selection of chair and vice chair. Current ordinance states that it be appointed by the mayor. Conversations that I've had with the mayor and I've had with the leadership team is asking the question, should the commission be allowed to pick their leaders amongst themselves? I know several communities do it in that manner, so bring that up for discussion. Otherwise, the rest of the items that are being proposed are pretty clear house-cleaning items. So looking for some feedback before we move forward and finalize the amendments for the July 16th council meeting.
Questions or comments?
I guess, Mr. Mayor, probably the most important one is your thoughts on the proposed change to chair and vice chair
Of appointment of or
appointment. Since the authority currently rests with you.
well, it rests with this group. That's a recommendation, then you guys can vote yes or no. I'll tell you why it got changed. Several years ago, there was a person that was on one of our commissions, nameless, and just to be very, very honest, was pretty self-serving, and was also kind of an intimidating person. And he got the group to nominate him and vote for him to become the chair. And it wasn't really a good scenario. And so I think that the thought came at that point that maybe we'll take the onus off the group to not have to be pressured, if you will, to do something they maybe didn't really want to do. And went to this scenario here, but I had I'm not looking for a participation trophy here at all, so whatever you guys think. But that was the reason that a different thought process came to light.
I guess I'd throw out the idea of keeping it as is for that reason, and then kind of the inverse of that, and that I've been on volunteer committees and boards and less formal committees where making that decision turns into an awkward expenditure of time that maybe they don't need to do, in that you spend a third of the meeting kind of everybody trying to be humble and not asked to be a chair or vice chair, and then everybody trying to figure out who to vote for. It might just save everybody the time.
So that's what I think would be.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with you.
council's approval. So again, I just want to note that community development is working on the actual zoning ordinance and the comp plan amendments. So I don't know if you want to provide an update on those as well.
Yeah, sure. So the Long Range Planning Commission met on June 17th and recommended the comp plan amendment to transfer the authorities from the Long Range Planning Commission to the Planning Commission. And then we're working on the packet right now for the Planning Commission's meeting second Tuesday in July here for the zoning ordinance amendments. There's really three places, as Brad mentioned, there's three places where changes need to occur to kind of make this all happen. So the wheels are in motion, and we'll have another hearing, and then we'll kind of marry up the comp plan amendment, the city code changes, and then the zoning ordinance changes all for your second meeting in July. So.
Okay,
I guess the only other change that wasn't mentioned was going from 6 to 7.
It'd be going from 5 to 7 in the planning commission. It's something that we've talked about quite a bit, allowing that to be a transition, knowing that LRPC had citizens that weren't assigned to other committees. Would it be a nice transition to bring their expertise to the planning commission in that context? It's not a guarantee that they'd be willing to do that, but it was a conversation that we had internally to say, is that a good way to transition those duties and responsibilities by having individuals who lived and breathed it?
okay. Anybody see anything else there you want to talk about or discuss, or are we okay with the changes? So what are you looking for, Brad?
Nothing, we've already got the feedback, so we'll take that feedback and make the changes and adjustments and have it to the council on the 16th. I would also note is based upon the point that we're at with the proposed amendments to Title II, I will be going to the boards and commissions and trying to get the members up there to get into a cycle. So under our ordinance or under city code, it has to be staggered so that everybody's leaving. So I've got to get individuals on the boards and commissions to fill a 1-year, 2-year, 3-year term to get that cycle going. So I'll be doing that here in July and early August.
Okay, anything else we need to talk about there, Brad, or?
Nope, that is all, Your Honor.
Okay. Then I guess we look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Cross, second by Liz. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll move into the council agenda here at 7 o'clock.
So we actually have the direction of cannabis commission.
Our recording system isn't working. We're recording the meetings, but I looked up quick. I don't think we have to record a time. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Good.